Dear Santa, pretty please can I have a garbage truck filled with board games? My family likes Monopoly after turkey, but I get bored and try to sleep. But then Uncle Phil steals all my money and laughs. I hate Uncle Phil. Please bring good games. Bye-bye. Andy.
Dear Andy, thank you for taking the time to write to me, my dude. I get lonely sometimes. Monopoly totally sucks. You need better board games to play with your family, bro. I have 5 games that I think you and your family will find totally lit. Love, Santa. P.S. Uncle Phil is totally getting cold this year. Dear Andy, the first game is Things and Rings, a 2 to 6 player totally radical party game where you and your family play your colorful Dr. Seuss-like cards into these silly little overlapping rings, trying to guess what all the objects have in common in an effort to get rid of your entire hand of cards. Love, Santa.
Now don't worry, not all games on this list are going to be party games. We are not the biggest party game players, so even when we want to introduce games to our family and people who don't game a lot, we like to diversify a bit. So there'll be more, if you want to call them gamer games.
But I think the important caveat here is that we only like party games when they are both fun, but allow for some secret level of strategy. Because we don't like things that are too simple. You know, no guessing games for us, no completely luck-based games. There has to be some level of thinky stuff.
And this game does have that in very small amounts. If you're unfamiliar, you essentially have this Venn diagram. And you'll have one player who plays as the knower. And what the knower is trying to do is he has a certain set of clues that he has that corresponds to each separate circle and their overlap. And what that person is trying to do is allow for other players to discard all their cards. Because in essence, it's a card shedding game. And once one player has discarded all the cards, they'll have won the game. There is this early stage of the game where it is fairly awkward because there's so little to go on that you're just sort of like blindly guessing. But after some time, you start seeing the clues.
Pattern.
Yeah, you see a pattern emerge, and you start seeing the clues build up.
You think you see a pattern emerge.
You think you see a pattern, but there is always that moment in this game where, like, I have noticed there is always one person who has a smug look on their face when they feel they have discovered, like, where they start like telling other people, like, that's not right, you shouldn't have put it there. Maybe that's just our play group.
And I find the best.
And it's funnier when they're wrong.
The best thing about this game for me is that you don't have to be confident that you know exactly what the clue is, right? And sometimes, like, I struggle with it as well. I can't articulate exactly why I feel like this matches the vibe of the other clues, but you just have like some like that, what do you call that? Like the gut feel, like you got instinct, like that's right. And this game targets that feeling where you don't have to know exactly what the clue is, but it just feels like it'd be right there.
It's a deduction game. It's like an introduction to a deduction game, but it's not a pure deduction game. Like Kim was saying, it is going to, in the end, be a sort of gut feeling. Like you're just sort of piecing together the clues. Yeah, and I think it has like just good visual appeal too. And I think it's just because of this art style, which is going to remind people of Dr. Seuss. So it sort of feels like reminiscent of something from your childhood. And without even like perfectly articulating, knowing what that is, I think that's part of that gravitational pull that the game possesses. You look at the pictures and you're like, this is really cool. This makes me feel nostalgic for something. And I think
and for me, the string roll thing does too. I don't know if you, but that was a boy. I think it's a girl's thing. You throw the string. No, not just you play the string.
Cat's cradle.
Yes, but I do think that this game has that weird area of like it's a board game, but obviously it's no board, and it looks kind of just interesting, different. So we have like events with friends where you like kind of meet new people and you just play board games with random people. And if you've got a fancy, complicated game out, it can be intimidating for those that aren't big board gamers. But they see this as like, oh, this looks cute. The art looks really nostalgic and pretty. Can I come join and play?
Yeah.
So it's a good way of kind of bringing people in as well.
Yeah.
And it's so fast to teach, so fast to grasp that I think it can suit a vast majority of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So check out Things in Rings.
It's such
Wicked
cool
little party
colorful
game
box.
that is relatively cheap. I always feel good recommending games that are cheap.
Dear Andy, remember Where's Waldo? Well, that crap is for babies, not big boys like you, bro. Micro Macro Crime City is a 1 to 4 player game with a wicked cool drawing of a giant city where there are loads of crime and stuff. Like, seriously, this town needs a Batman. Look through the town and find clues to solve the murders. Love, Santa.
So Where's Waldo is kind of what this is similar to. And
Yeah.
growing up, I kind of hated stuff like that. That was never my thing. I was like, why? Yeah. Why do you spend
No, you go to the
time-
Scholastic Book Fair as a kid, and then you tell your parents, like, I'm gonna go buy Chaucer, Mom and Dad, don't worry. And then you come home with a stack of Where's Waldo books.
I bought science magazine.
All right, well, I bought Where's Waldo, and I bought stickers.
With this game in particular, it gives you specific things to look for.
Yeah.
You're not just looking for like the one character that's like actual story, kind of solving a crime.
Because-
the sake part of this game.
Because each little envelope has a separate case, and so you might be looking at like 10 cases or 12 cases in a package, and what you're supposed to do is you go through card by card, and the cards will essentially say things like, who stole this guy's money? And then you'll try to look around, and then what you'll be searching for is like, oh, okay, here's the guy, here he is with his duffel bag of money, and he's counting it, and he's sitting on the park bench. Oh, but there's a shifty little owl character who's like in a trench coat looking really like shady, standing behind him. They're like, oh, maybe it was this guy. And so what's interesting about the map is that it is essentially like a variety of time periods all compressed together, if that makes sense, because you can sort of track their movements throughout their entire
And that
map.
was one big flat
one
image.
giant map.
And like the part that was super fun for me was like it's actually kind of a narrative. So I think the one we
Well,
played last night or night before, it was like, okay, this person's murdered. Who would they hang out with before? Okay, like what? It's not even they don't even explicitly ask you what the like motive is, but you start thinking about it right away. Like, oh, they're with this friend, and then you see that, oh, this friend saw the boyfriend buying this dress, and this girl's wearing this dress, and I don't know, I like the spiciness of it. Like obviously these are made up little fiction characters, but okay, they're not all as spicy like that. But it was so fun to kind of find these things. It is tedious, but because there is a narrative to it, you actually like, I don't know, I was motivated to keep looking for stuff. If you just tell me look for this one thing with no background or story, I would not do that. But you get very hooked on these stories, which I did not expect to at all from this type of game. But it's such a fun experience to do this.
Yeah,
And so
and it just facilitates conversation, which is just exactly what you want from family games. You know, when the game's over, you talk about the game afterwards,
yeah.
and everybody had a good time. And yeah, this is the type of game that you want, and especially when you're introducing games to people who don't play a lot of board games. Because if you whip this out and say, this is a board game, people are going to look at you like you're a crazy person.
This is called a big picture.
Yeah, and then they're going to realize that board gaming is far more than just like Monopoly and Clue and Battle.
Yeah.
It's a cool feeling.
Exactly. I think a lot of like, especially my family that are not board gamers, like they would still enjoy, like party games, like girls' night games. Most people like, what's like Cards Against Humanity, that sort of stuff. And so like, you start opening their eyes that there's a lot more than just Cards Against Humanity or very intense Euro games. I don't know. To me, board games always been about bringing people together. That's why we play them. And this kind of game that's fundamentally one big sheet of a map and these small cards in this like thin little box, it just brings so much joy.
Plus, it comes with a cool little magnifying glass.
Dear Andy, ever wanted to collect those boring pictures your mom and dad hang on the bathroom wall? Well, now you can, my dude. In Art Society, a 2 to 4 player game where you try to impress some super lameoids by putting together an art collection by bidding cash money and arranging the art in your gallery. Love, Santa.
So let's get this out of the way. We picked this game partially because it is beautiful. It is a beautiful game. It just looks good. It's one of those games where, like, even if you're at a convention, you walk by, you see people playing it, and you're like, I want to play that game because it's a cool looking game. You're sitting here, you're laying down paintings. It's really pretty. But more than that, there is a game here. And what's interesting, I think, is the type of game where you can get as much as you put in. Like, you don't have to approach this as a really complicated game. And it's not a complicated game. But it's something that you can sink your teeth into strategically. Like, with the way you bid. So you have these paddles. And essentially, everybody has the same number of paddles. And whoever has the highest number, and they all place them simultaneously, secretly, whoever has the highest number gets first dibs on the paintings that are in the market. But what's interesting is that you can look at other people's boards, and you can kind of like, if you take the time and to-dos, you kind of suss out what other players want. Or if you don't want to go through that rigmarole, you can just be chill and just take whatever gets and just play the tiles down.
It's become a hallmark of the types of ladder games that we like, that it's very easy to pick up, right? Like it's very intuitive, and then it allows for a secret strategy.
Yeah.
It allows for you to be as complicated, as strategic as you would like to be. But it doesn't feel like you're playing a board game. It feels like you're doing like a little fancy crafty thing. You know, like girls of craft night, paint nights and stuff. It feels like that because you're looking at pretty little things, organize it in the way you want.
That's true.
And you can be strategic, or you can randomly put stuff according to how aesthetic it is.
Yeah.
It gives me similar vibes to Canvas, like
Yeah,
a game about like really pretty art. But this just feels like fancier.
it
Like they're
does.
very like, and I don't know how to like exactly articulate that, but it's kind of nice when a board game gives you a different feeling, right? And like actually like evokes emotion.
And the great thing is that it introduces new players, like family members or whoever you're gaming with, to mechanics that they'll see in other games. If you take a step up from Art Society's complexity, it's a really good bidding mechanism, and it's a really good tile placement mechanism. And the tile placement isn't particularly complicated. You just want to make sure that the frames kind of touch each other because you get bonuses for that. And then you want to make sure that similar colors on the little symbols, because all the pictures have symbols, they're not touching each other. You'll lose victory points. The game punishes a little, but not so much that your entire day is ruined. Like, you have control over what's happening. And I think that's good because nobody's going to walk away feeling frustrated. They're going to want to play more.
And the scoring mechanism is also partially controlled by the players. So
That's true.
the thing that doesn't get the colors that don't get picked the most, they go highest up in scores. So there is a level like layer that I said that that's a strategic thing where if everyone you're playing with is a more serious board gamer, they'll all like you try to not sabotage someone else, but you try to do what's best for your play, or you can completely forgo it and ignore it and just play for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely check out Art Society, a fairly inexpensive game that is very easy to teach, and people will probably really enjoy.
Dear Andy, do you know those scary movies your mom won't let you watch, but you watch them anyway and are the covers on your iPad? I see you, bro. Well, in Spooktacular, a 1 to 5 player game, you play as one of those monsters escaping the movie screen to chow down on all the audience members who won't turn off their cell phones using your special powers and stuff. Love, Santa.
And this would, of course, be the heaviest game on the list, but is by no means heavy. I still think this constitutes like a solid family weight game because it is really easy to understand. When you're playing Spooktacular, everything you need to know is right there on your card. Like, it could just be procedural. You just go through that list, like step 1, do this, step 2, do this. Nothing's particularly complicated, but it's all fun. And again, just like Art Society, it's one of those games where you can get as much as you put in.
A lot of I think we agree. A lot of games sometimes feels like, oh, there's the mechanisms and any theme slapped on, like it would be the same game.
Yeah.
This game thrives and excels in being a movie focused horror, Halloweeny,
Yeah.
scary type theme. And I think it actually makes the play so much more fun.
I was pretty impressed. Like, when we were introduced to this game, they're like, oh, we have different player powers. I was expecting like slight variations on the same crap, because it is a lighter game. But when he started going through, first of all, there's a ton of them. Like, it's a giant stack of different monsters. When he started going through them and saying, like, okay, this is what you do. This is what you do. They were different. They were like really different. Like, it felt like you were playing a different game, playing these new monsters. Like, I love level 99 games, but that's primarily because they make a lot of kooky stuff and they use anime.
Yeah, it's really cute. The art too is really cute.
But I will admit I had lower expectations for Spooktacular, but I was very impressed.
Yeah, I also thought it was like, I mean, firstly, horror theme, like not my vibe, and then secondly, it kind of looks like a kid's game because it's like playful colors and
It's
like
very colorful.
yeah, it's fun looking and Halloween themed. So to me, it's like a kid's game, but it actually does love a pretty deep strategy, especially
Yeah.
the more difficult characters. And I would say along the player power thing, it's not just like how your players move. It's also like some of them like give you more cards, some of them have less cards. So you just have a deck of cards that you're taking and using those as your main like gonna play card for an action. But different characters have different cards that they give you, a different number of cards. So some people actually have a handful of cards, some people only have like 3 cards to use. So every aspect of the game feels like it's fully soaked in the theme.
Yeah, so Spooktacular is a fantastic game, which, yeah, it's the heaviest game on the list, but it is, like Kim was saying, it's a very accessible game. It's easy to teach. And because of that theme, it's just, again, it's easy to teach and it just makes it more fun. It's a very strong thematic game. So definitely check out Spooktacular.
Fun
Great
for
family game.
kids. Yeah, fun for kids, fun for adults.
Yeah.
Good all around.
Dear Andy, betting is for mommies and daddies, not cool kids like you. But you can pretend to bet while playing Longshot, a 1 to 8 player party game where you and your family horse race around a track, rolling dice, betting on horses, and buying cute little hats and stuff for the small elves riding the horses. Love, Santa.
Yeah, I think the game just provides a really good sense of agency, which is very rare in a party game. Usually in party games, you just feel at the whim of randomness. And yeah, there's dice. You do roll these dice, But there's ways to sort of manipulate what's going to happen. Like Kim was saying, you can make an action so that the horse perhaps that you've bet on, that you've purchased, carries along with other people's rolls. So if an 8 gets rolled, my number 4 horse will be brought along with the number 8 horse. So there's ways it makes you feel like you have some sense of control. And there's a good amount of interaction here too, which I really enjoy. There is some take that, because there's a few actions that you can perform that can move other horses back.
But it's not too mean. Even like
No, it's
I,
not.
I like the meanness in this game.
Yeah, and the great thing about that sense of interaction is that, like, it sort of incentivizes an almost like, this is gonna sound strange, but almost like communal aspect in the horse, because in the game itself, because
We all
if you-
share the horse.
kind of, yeah, because if you're the only person who purchased one horse and nobody's bet on it, nobody's gonna help that horse move. People are purposely gonna bring that horse back.
Oh yeah, you have like that's not like a Tetris thing, but that's like a row and column thing, and then you
It's like bingo.
Yeah, bingo. I don't know bingo too well. I'm not old enough for that, I guess. But once you complete a row or column, you get extra ability, and one of the abilities is pushing a horse back.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like there's like because it's like a mini game in the game. This game adds so many elements that you can focus on different things. So some people can focus on like putting money across all the horses to kind of like diversify the investment portfolio. Or if you want to go really ham on one horse, you can do that too. And so this game, like party games often, I don't feel like there's good interaction, but it's always very surface level. This game, I feel like you get really like you can form an alliance with somebody, and then you can form like rivalry, I guess, with somebody else.
Yeah, a little bit, because you can purposely school, and like you could have grudges, basically.
yeah.
You move a person horses back, then they're gonna be like, I'm gonna get you.
It's not just like so it's not just like so superficial. It's like we all do the same thing to each other. We all like just like very rudimentary type actions. This allows for more complicated stuff, but it's still so intuitive because the theme. I think there's a sense, as a pattern here, right? The theme is so strong, and you actually feel really engaged in this game with the game itself and with the other players.
I think theme is incredibly important, especially with party games. Maybe less so when it's just you and your partner, or you and a couple of friends who like play a lot of complex Euro games, and it's totally fine that you're just playing a game that just just moving up tracks.
Makes you feel smart. Makes you be like, watch my move, watch how smart I can did these like chain.
But when you're playing with your family, or people that don't game a lot, you need theme. You have to have theme, usually.
Or I would also say, if you're playing in a situation where you're drinking, like if you just know people are not gonna be like focused enough to do complicated actions, and there's dice rolling, so it automatically makes it more fun.
We're encouraging great things on this channel: drinking and horse
Gambling.
handling. Yeah,
Gamble and
do
drink
them both with your family today.
at the same time.
Yeah, and that's a long shot. Definitely worth checking out.
Dear Santa, thank you for awesome game pile under my tree. Now I don't have to play Monopoly, and mean cousin Jimmy won't make me put the hotels up my nose. Next year, I want a rocket ship and cotton candy. P.S. Uncle Phil cried when he opened his coal. I laughed and told him to totally grow up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.